Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this morning's ceremony. As a reminder, military members should stand at attention on the first note of ruffles and flourishes and the national anthem. During the national anthem, our civilian guests should place their right hand over their heart. We request cellular phones and pagers be turned off for the duration of the ceremony. Our ceremony will begin shortly. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Today, the men and women of the 37th Training Wing observe a change of command in which the reins of responsibility and leadership will pass from Colonel Jason Janeros to Colonel Rocky Wilson. The presiding official for today's ceremony is the Commander, 2nd Air Force, Major General Andrea Tullis. In attendance here today, we have Colonel Janeros' wife, Leslie, and their children, Jaden, Michaela, Abrielle, Elena, Toby, Madeline, Jacoby, and their family friends, Summer and Addie Owen. Also with us today is Colonel Wilson's wife, Nisa, and their children, Lucas, Kyle, and Claire. Additionally, Colonel Wilson's father-in-law, Senior Master Sergeant retired Irving Lazenby, his mother-in-law, Laura Lazenby, along with his brother-in-law, Lieutenant Colonel Eric Lazenby, and sister-in-law, Kimberly Lazenby, with their children, Kimber and Elle, are in attendance. The 37th Training Wing Vice Commander, Colonel Megan Schaefer. The 37th Training Wing Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Stephen Blager, and his wife, Jen. The 37th Training Wing would also like to send a warm welcome to all those who are attending our ceremony virtually through our live Facebook stream. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and the playing of musical honors. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Chaplain Lozer will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, you place people in positions of authority, and you charge us to pray for them. This ceremony may be short and the words few, but the authority of command is awesome, and the responsibilities are legion. We thank you for the work and leadership of Colonel Janeros, his wife Leslie, and all their children, Jaden, Michaela, Abrielle, Elena, Toby, Madeline, and Jacoby. From Colonel Janeros' infectious, almost contagious energy and enthusiasm in our PT sessions, to Mrs. Generos' hospitality and mentorship across this wing. This leadership team has been your faithful servants and a family who cares about every person on this installation. Colonel Generos has challenged us in many ways to grow from good to great, and we ask for your empowerment as this team continues their journey of excellence. As Colonel Generos takes his new responsibilities at the Pentagon, we ask you to continue to use him and his family to make as much of a positive difference in that community as they have the 37th Training Wing. And now grant both wisdom and guidance upon Colonel Rocky Wilson as he takes command of this outstanding wing, knowing to whom much is given, much is required. May his wife Nisa and sons Cadet Lucas Wilson and Kyle and daughter Claire rally around him and support him throughout his tenure as he dedicates himself to the fulfillment of this mission and the service of these people. As we anticipate the new lessons, challenges, and successes that Colonel Wilson will inspire in the Warhawk team, we ask you to grant him wisdom, strength, and insight during these exciting times ahead. And now I ask for your continued blessing and protection on all serving in harm's way in defense of our freedoms. Please renew our dedication to give Colonel Wilson the support he needs to accomplish the mission of the 37th Training Wing. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 2nd Air Force, Major General Andrew Tullis.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. Well, this is probably not the way many of us envisioned sending off Colonel Generos and his family to the 2nd Air, and welcoming Colonel Wilson and his family to the 2nd Air Force team. I'm very proud of how our nation, the San Antonio community, and our military are fighting through the pandemic. And so my first order of business is to thank everyone who is watching the live stream for their role in protecting our nation and our service personnel and our communities, and for the sacrifices that everyone is making to protect themselves and their families. So because we are live streaming, I'd like to take a moment to thank some people who would otherwise be with us today who could not travel. So Colonel Wilson's parents, Mr. Philip Wilson, Miss Diane Hubble, I know you're out there. We wish that we could have you here today to welcome you to the 2nd Air Force family in person, but we look forward to the time when you can travel down here and spend some time with us. To Mr. Henderson and Mr. Carell and General Byers, I thank you for the role that you've played in mentoring Rocky throughout his career, and I also thank you for everything that you do to make our Air Force better every day. To Leslie and the Generos family, part of me thinks you're thinking, I've seen enough parades, there's been enough fanfare, we really just want to get on to the next stop, and begin the next adventure. But I also know how much of your heart and soul that you've poured into this wing over the past 2 years. So we're going to take some time and send you off right. To the Wilsons, to Rocky, to Nisa, Sergeant Lazenby, Lieutenant Colonel Lazenby, Cadet Wilson, and maybe a few more who, while we're here, may catch the fever of the 37th and want to become airmen. So you have to be careful in this building. We're in the Finston Center, and if you go through the wrong door with the other recruits out there, you might come out the back door an airman. So stick close, right? You're getting your first glimpse into the Carnival Cruise Line, that is the 37th Training Wing. I like to call it a menagerie because although it's known as the gateway to the Air Force, which makes people think it's all about basic training, you'll learn that there's much more to this wing than just transforming recruits into airmen. I want to thank you for sharing this momentous occasion with Rocky and for all the support that you've provided him throughout his Air Force journey, and welcome you to the 2nd Air Force family. So many of you may be thinking that I don't really need to say anything about what the 37th Training Wing has accomplished over the past 2 years, because all you have to do is to check the news. Television, social media, the internet, the print news, and you will see some elements of the 37th Training Wing featured every day. Just Friday, I participated in a media event with the Pentagon Press Pool to talk about how we're fighting through COVID-19 and building the airmen we need to set the foundation for the Air and Space Force so that we can continue to be our nation's 911 anytime, any place. And we're going to recognize Colonel Generos' role as the leader of those efforts by awarding them the decoration. So I could just let you listen to the citation and know what they've accomplished. But what I really want you to remember about what Colonel Janeros and Leslie have accomplished are not the numbers of airmen that they produced, or the numbers of graduates from technical training that we've had, or the numbers of four-legged airmen that we've transformed from puppies into alligators. I want you to remember what the overwhelming majority of you might not know. That if I didn't come here to tell you, you wouldn't understand. And that's the extent to which he has poured his heart and soul into this tour of duty. How empty the tank is right now because he left it all on the field of play. The hours of phone calls and text messages and emails back and forth to fight through and keep our pipeline open. To get an exception of policy to get one airman at a time home on emergency leave. To get Wi-Fi in your training dorms, funded last week. To get your military and training instructors back to Lackland from their follow-on assignments to build a bench for our cadre. To get the Defenders training infrastructure consolidated. To get AR and VR into our initial skills pipelines and portable electronic devices into the hands of our MTIs. To get our four-legged airmen categorized as mission essential so that they too could get shipped to their first duty station. To get a tent city assembled so that we can deep clean your facilities and keep our trainees and cadre physically distanced. The list goes on and on. And at the end of every single conversation that we had, he asked me the same question. What can we do for you? He's an early adapter who doesn't hesitate to want to try something that has the prospect of making our airmen better, his wings stronger, more lethal, more ready, and more effective. I've told him, you're our Labrador. I throw a lot of tennis balls, and JJ is the first wing commander out of the blocks to run it down, bring it back, and say, do it again. He's relentless. And if it doesn't go well the first time, he's like, do it again. We got this. And sure enough, everyone around him comes out better for it. And that's what I want you to remember. For Rocky, you're going from the strategic to the tactical. But you and your family are going to absolutely love the change of scenery. It's impossible to walk around the 37th Training Wing and not fall in love with our Air Force. I know you're aware that the pace here is relentless. You are going to have to get on the treadmill at speed. There's no starting from a stop and gradually ramping up. Command of the 37th Training Wing is a cardiovascular event, which I like to describe as a marathon, which is routinely disrupted by a series of sprints. But you're the right officer at the right time to keep the wing fighting through. You'll bring an engineer's perspective to our efforts to treat our dorms as weapon systems. You'll bring your leadership skills from 3 previous command tours to forge a team who will set the Air Force foundation across a menagerie of defenders, enlisted aircrew, material managers, aerial transporters, and services personnel, just to name a few. You and your family have joined a numbered Air Force which prides itself on generating 93% of the airmen who power the world's greatest air and space force, who strive every day to be second to none. Command is a tough job, and it will consume a lot of time and energy. But with risk comes reward, and the team that you have here is well prepared to take your wing to the next level. You will work hard, play hard, and make lasting memories leading a championship team. And with that, let's proceed with the ceremony.
Please rise as Major General Tullis presents the Legion of Merit to Colonel Janeros. Citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster, to Jason M. Janeros. Colonel Jason M. Janeros distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 37th Training Wing, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas, from 10 July 2018 to 15 July 2020. During this period, Colonel Janeros superbly executed operations at the gateway to the Air Force, comprised of more than 16,000 joint personnel in 5 states in support of 120 partner nations, resulting in the graduation of 155,000 trainees and students from 139 courses, including United States Air Force Basic Military Training and Initial Skills Technical Training involving 24 specialties. Colonel Gineros orchestrated a comprehensive and historic reform of basic military training, highlighted by enhanced skills combat training, full gender integration, a new detachment at Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi, and groundbreaking of the $500 million West Campus project. Moreover, his Reimagine Lackland campaign underscored the Dorms as a Weapon Systems concept, launched the Smart Campus Initiative, and was the catalyst for a state-of-the-art Paradeville complex design to highlight the significance of becoming an airman in the United States Air Force. As the Defense Department's executive agent for military working dogs, he oversaw 708 dogs trained, 190 puppies bred, and $8 million in canine infrastructure invested in the world's largest kennel. Furthermore, his passion, drive, and vision were also instrumental to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force's Year of the Defender and Reconstitute Defender initiatives, where he built a total force recruiting schoolhouse and achieved 100% qualification rates on the M4 rifle at basic training, both firsts for the wing. Finally, Colonel Gineros' renewed focus on culture and resiliency set the conditions for success and inspired his Warhawks to fight through numerous challenges, including a global pandemic, while earning Air Force level distinction as the 2018 Technical Training Squadron of the Year, 2019 Enlisted Professional Military Education Center of the Year, 2019 A1 Team of the Year, and Military Training Corps honors as the 2019 Etchberger Team of the Year. The superior initiative, outstanding leadership, and personal endeavor displayed by Colonel Gineros reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Gineros.
General Tullis, Colonel Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, and certainly to all our distinguished guests watching online. So this day might not look like the one we all envisioned. COVID had a vote. The enemy normally does. However, I promise you this, today is still a great day to be an airman. As I stand before you in my final minutes as Warhawk 1 and commander of this storied wing, I'm wrestling with a wide range of emotions. And if I'm being completely honest, right now, I'm somewhere between this sucks and this really sucks. Here's the reality though. I'm incredibly honored and humbled, but more than anything, I feel grateful. Grateful to be here at the gateway to the Air Force, in this chief's room, symbolic of the enlisted corps that I love so much. And here, surrounded by my family and friends and warfighters that I would go to battle with any freaking day. I'm grateful for the dozens of hands that made this day and this event possible. I'm grateful for the thousands of remarkable men and women that I've been blessed to work for and with during my 25-year career. And I'm most certainly grateful for all the wingmen, leaders, and warriors who taught me that command is indeed a sacred trust. Ma'am, thank you again for being part of this special day. 3, 2, 1, go. Right, boss? And Rocky, brother, you have no idea how grateful I am to be handing that guy on to you, a friend that I trust. And you know how excited I am for you, Nisa, and your entire family. And please understand that I will be your biggest fan and supporter. And I look to watch you do great things and take the Warhawk Nation to the next level. And since there is nothing typical about this ceremony, allow me to share with you 37 other things I'm grateful for. Please know up front, though, there is a caveat with this list. When I say 37 things, it's kind of like when I tell my troops we're about to do 37 burpees. It's really just an estimate. So here we go, rapid style fire. I'm so grateful for this event taking place on my mom's birthday. Love you, Mom. You too, John Traxler, a.k.a. the most interesting man in the world. Stay thirsty, my friend. I'm grateful for the letter B, for Chief E, and for full blaze. By the way, this chief, this man right here, he could have his picture in this room someday if he so desires. I'm also grateful for femurs, Thelma and Louise's poker chips and playlist, bad jokes, dad jokes, and inside jokes, cornhole, cabins, dirt boys, muddy minivans, Sour Patch Kids, and Chick-fil-A. No federal endorsement intended. Speaking of which, I'm grateful for my law dog, Mr. P, a.k.a. my fantasy football kryptonite. I'm grateful for Aquaman, the Fantastic Four, OGs, Seminoles, Cheeseheads, and even a few Gators. And in general, I'm grateful for the most unbelievable front office and wing staff any commander could ever ask for. I'm grateful for BMT, IAFA, Tech Training, and DLI, and the tens of thousands two- and four-legged warriors that you have trained, educated, developed, and inspired, and the countless partnerships that you have strengthened all over this globe. I'm grateful for my furry namesake in the 341st, honestly one of the coolest things ever. I'm grateful for the wild blue yonder and all you designers, dreamers, doers, and disruptors of the status quo. You keep waging that full-out war on stupid, and you keep flipping that pyramid every single day. And I'm absolutely grateful for all you resilient heroes out there like L2, Amanda Broussard, Jen Bates, and Little Charlie. You all keep fighting, you hear me? I'm grateful for 341s, diamonds, keys, and G-series, campaign hats, berets, blue lines, ropes, and rucks, especially the ones led by courageous chiefs. I'm grateful for the PRC stairs and the Special Warfare Fit Fact for providing me hundreds of therapy sessions. Trust me, I needed every single one of them. And of course, I'm grateful for the gift, the grind, the grit, and the grace that you all showed me every day as your commander. And I'm grateful for mission partners, community partners, and amazing neighbors, to include a CERT doctor that may or may not have saved my kids a half dozen times. And I'm just so grateful for all the countless memories my family and I have made here. Now, I may be the one at this podium, but I can assure you, this day has very little to do with me. It's been said that anyone who seeks success and greatness should first forget about both and seek only the truth, and the rest will follow. Well, I hold three great truths above all else in my life: my faith, my family, and my flag. So as I close, I'd like to thank God for His mercy and His grace, and for blessing this very ordinary man with yet another extraordinary leadership opportunity. And to my bride, Leslie, babe, 25 years, and you still cannot put the toilet paper on the right way. LJ, you and the kids, you know you're my why. And to my little man, Jakey, Daddy loves you. And finally, to the men and women of the 37 Training Wing, my Warhawk family, you had me at hello. You took three simple words, caring, professional, and ready, and you transformed them into a way of life that I never could have imagined. Please understand, that flag was never mine. It was always ours. And together, we were unstoppable. You keep leading well, serving well, living well, and loving well. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Mrs. Janeros, on behalf of the men and women and families of the 37 Training Wing, please accept these flowers as a token of our appreciation for your labor of love, devotion, and unwavering support. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as Major General Tullis presides over the change of command.
Publish the order.
Under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-509 and Special Order Number 20-050, Colonel Jason Janeros relinquishes command of the 37 Training Wing to Colonel Rocky Wilson, effective 15 July, signed Major General Andrea Tullis, Commander, 2nd Air Force.
Officers, assemble. Command, Army members, command. Ma'am, I assume command. Officers, host.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 37th Training Wing, Colonel Rocky Wilson.
Man, that Generos is a tough act to follow, both in command and in his remarks, so I will do my best. I ask everybody to please bear with me today. I have a lot of people to thank. Thank you for that. I appreciate very, very much from the bottom of my heart everybody that's in this room today, everybody that's out there on Facebook Live, friends, family, commanders, chiefs, first sergeants. Thank you all so much for being here today. It means the world to Nisa and I. I also wanted to take a minute to personally thank my family, my in-laws that are here, starting with my father-in-law, Senior Master Sergeant Retired Irving Lazenby. The Lazenby family on Nisa's side, for them, the Air Force is absolutely a family business. From Irving, who came through here, actually in Amarillo. He went through basic military training in Amarillo, Texas. It's funny how themes stay the same over the years. At the time, Lackland had a meningitis breakout, and so they transitioned DMT to Amarillo, and he went through there. In addition to Irving, his brothers Charles, Alfred, Herman, and Mac, who's now deceased, have all served with distinction in our United States Air Force. So, Mr. Lazenby, you came from Orange, Texas, a very small town, very meager beginning, and you have worked your butt off through your military career, and he's also a retired civil servant, to show us just what people are capable of when they really put their mind to it, sir. Thank you for that. I remember, and to be truthfully honest, the reason I'm standing here today is a couple of really close conversations that I had when I was going over to see my girlfriend. I was 16 years of age. Just got my driver's license. And I made the trip over to Nisa's house, and I sat in her basement with her dad and talked about the future. Here I am. And you cannot argue that you did not have a big part in that, sir, so thank you. To my mother-in-law, who met my father-in-law during Vietnam in Thailand and has come over to the United States and made a wonderful life for herself and her family. Despite the military moves, despite being a military spouse. Thank you for your service. To my brother-in-law, Eric, who is here. He's an air battle manager out of Hurlburt. We were commissioned within 6 months of each other. Nisa and I went to Colorado State University. Eric to the evil nemesis, Colorado, the Buffs. But we kept an eye on each other's careers as we went. Kim Kemper, L, military spouse and military dependence. It is a tough life. Thank you for your service to Eric as well. Major General Tullis, ma'am, thank you so much for your remarks. Very, very meaningful and impactful on us. You've spent a lot of time with me over the last 24 hours. We greatly appreciate it. I also appreciate your hiring me, and General Webb hiring me. Certainly, I could not say without you I'd be here today. There is no doubt. I know you and Jason have worked together very closely. He is obviously, from his remarks, a tremendous person, a tremendous individual with a ton of strengths. I hope you'll find me with a few of those. I can tell you I have many shortcomings, but a few strengths as well. And I know you were the mentor for the Mission Support Group Commanders course that I went through, and I don't know if you remember it, but I just remember thinking, man, this is a direct communicator, a straight shooter. You always know where you stand with this league, and I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to working with you, man. Though they're not here in person, I wanted to thank my father, Philip, who served, got out in 1962 as an E3, as a parachute rigger. Dad, thank you for the foundation that you gave me growing up. To my mother, Diana Hubble, Mom, thank you as well. I am very, very grateful for all your support over the years. Also my brother, Rusty, who's incredibly well accomplished now and very, very successful. I'm proud of you, bro. Thank you for all your support. A few other family members, my aunt Wanda and John Houston, who have been huge parts of Nisa and I's lives as extended parents, really, at many times. Thank you for that. To my cousin Chris Houston, who grew up like an older brother. He was always the one that challenged me to persevere. He's always the one that motivated me to do better. He was my mentor growing up, and absolutely the reason I'm here today is because you challenged me, and I always strove to answer that challenge. Thanks, bro. To Mr. Mark Carell and his wife Brandy, mentors to Nisa and I. Mr. Carell, I first met, he was a colonel. I was his executive officer. We've stayed in close contact through the years. Today, he's a Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Air Force in the Pentagon. I wear 2 eagles here today that Mr. Carell gave me as my mentor. He received those eagles from Colonel Retired Mel Bain, who's a Vietnam-era fighter pilot, who transitioned into an 06 as a medical doctor, and he was Mr. Carell's mentor. And so, sir, thank you. I'm wearing your eagles here today. Thank you for your mentorship. Also, thank yous to Major General Tim Byers, Colonel Retired Sal Najimi, who's now the Matrix of CEO Design. Again, no direct affiliation or endorsement from the government on that. And Mr. John Henderson, who's the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force. Thank you all for your mentorship. Also, this ceremony would not have been possible without the hard work of many people. And from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to say thank you. We know how hard it is to set something like this up, especially under these conditions. So thank you to Captain Jennifer Rockwell, Lieutenant Allison Kirk, Mr. Greg Pendleton, Ms. Melissa Jackson, Tech Sergeant David Worley, for all their parts in today's ceremony. Also a big thank you to Mr. John Say and Joe Sarita for their help in transitioning me into the 37th Training Wing. You all have been so gracious, and I thank you so very much. To the other senior leaders that are out there in Facebook land, I can't wait to work with you. Joint Base San Antonio, the complexity of the mission brings a great challenge in collaboration and teamwork. I talked to Brigadier General Roy Collins before I came out here, who was Jason's predecessor, and I asked him, I said, what was, any level of success that you had, what was the #1 trait that you saw? And he said the #1 trait, as with anything, is relationships, and it's collaboration with your peers and with your wing. And so I look forward to working with those in the Joint Base San Antonio, the rest of Joint Base San Antonio. To my family, to the love of my life, God, this always gets me. Nisa, to my kids, to Luke, a rising junior at the Citadel, Kyle, who is a rising sophomore, who's going to go to Central Catholic High School in downtown San Antonio. He's a football player. Anybody that looks at him can see why. To our young daughter, Claire, our little artist, going into 5th grade at Lackland Elementary School. I love you all so much. I've not always been the best husband. I've not always been the best father. But you are my priority. You always will be my priority first and foremost. Welcome to the 37th Training Wing family. And I look forward to going through this adventure with you. Jason, man, without you, I would not be here. I've said that. You are a strong advocate for me to be in this position. Leslie has just been wonderful with Nisa. And without you guys and all of your advocacy, all your support, we are in just such a wonderful, blessed position. And you two are a big part of it. You're going to continue to do great things for the Air Force, my friend. You've had a really challenging community. You have my utmost respect for everything that you've done for this wing. And honestly, I'm a little intimidated to come behind you. But I think that's healthy, that's good. I can't be Jason Generos, but I'll be your activist. And I'll do the best I can. All right. To the men and women of the 37th Training Wing, I'm wrapping up. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here today. In the Navy, they have a tradition of saying, as every outgoing commanding officer will say, all standing orders will remain in effect. Well, all standing orders will remain in effect for 37th Training Wing and the Warhawks for the time being. We will grow together, and we will figure out if there's things to change, we'll change them together, and we'll have reason for doing it. So, to talk a little bit about my priorities coming in, every healthy organization is driven through a climate of success and a climate of competition. And the Warhawks will be no different. The success typically occurs through a competitive work environment that continues to focus on the improvement of our airmen and our members, through their own development of their own internal intrinsic motivation and developing a culture of winning and success. The 37 Training Wing has always done that and will continue to do that. I use the word train as both the foundational mission, as both the foundation to our mission, and as an acronym that provides the way forward in which I plan to help do that. The T in train, to trust. We will trust our airmen. We will empower our airmen. We will give authority to our airmen, and we will keep the responsibility on the shoulders of us as leaders. Our airmen are resilient. They have always shown their resilience, but we can't take that for granted. We have to take care of our airmen, and we will do that. The A in train, airmen. We have so much in common. We have so many universal things that bind us together as airmen. Our mission binds us together. We will continue to focus on those similarities, on those commonalities, rather than any difference or any division within us. The I is innovation. We're problem solvers. We're risk takers. It's often hard to recognize a good idea as it is to think of a new one. We'll do both. In train, nurture, connect. We will connect with our Warhawks. We will do it through interpersonal relationships, and we will do it through inspiration. In sum, as Warhawks, we win by trusting our resilient airmen to innovate and to nurture, to train. In other words, we train to win. It's a culture and a climate of winning and success, and we train to win. Months back, Jason led the effort to develop the Warhawk Way and the Wing strategic plan through 2040. Having read that plan, I truly believe that training to win is absolutely the Warhawk Way. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Colonel Wilson. Mrs. Wilson, on behalf of the men and women of the 37th Training Wing, please accept these flowers as a token of our appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the 37th Training Wing are proud to have served with Colonel Janeros and wish him and his family continued success and Godspeed in their future endeavors. We also look forward to serving with Colonel Wilson and his family as he assumes his new duties as Commander, 37th Training Wing. Please stand for the singing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for attending, and we wish you a pleasant day.